You know that feeling when you finish a show and you just sit there, staring at the screen, heart racing, mind spinning, because what you just watched wasn't just television, it was something deeper, something that reached in and grabbed you. That's exactly what happened with Sullivan's Crossing Season 3, and honestly, I wasn't ready for it. I thought I knew what to expect. Small town drama, family struggles, maybe some romantic ups and downs. But no. This season came swinging harder than anyone could have predicted, and now, after binging the whole thing on Netflix, I have to tell you this is the season that turned Sullivan's Crossing from a good comfort watch into a must-watch drama that deserves your full attention. Here's the thing. From the very first scene of Season 3, there's this feeling in the air, like something's about to snap. It's quiet, but it's that scary kind of quiet. You know when everything seems fine, but deep down, you can tell there's a storm coming? That's exactly how this season starts. The crossing looks calm. Maggie is finally finding some peace. Sully seems to be in a good place. Cal and Maggie's relationship looks like it's growing. But then, slowly, piece by piece, the cracks begin to show. And once they do, it's like watching dominoes fall fast, unstoppable, and devastating. Let's talk about Maggie, because she is the heart of this show. Maggie is that character who constantly makes you think, what would I do if I were her? And that's what makes her so relatable. She's torn between two lives: the life she built for herself in Boston, this shiny career as a neurosurgeon, respected and accomplished, versus the messy, complicated, but deeply meaningful life back home in Nova Scotia. And this season, the writers did something brilliant. They didn't make her choose once. They made her choose again and again. Every single episode, she's tested. And the biggest test? Treating Glenn Perry. Now, let's pause here, because Glenn isn't just any patient. This guy is the threat. He's the villain. He's the man who wants to destroy the crossing, who wants to turn everything her family has fought for into some luxury playground for the rich. And then, boom, he gets sick. He needs Maggie. And suddenly, the whole weight of her oath as a doctor comes crashing down on her shoulders. Do you save the man who could ruin your home, or do you let him suffer and possibly watch your problems disappear? That's not just drama. That's a moral gut punch. And Maggie's choice to save him? That's what makes her heroic. Because sometimes the hardest thing to do is the right thing, even when it hurts. Even when it costs you everything. But let me break it down. This season had three big storylines that really tore into us emotionally. First, Maggie's decision to stay, to put her roots down in Timberlake, even when it means risking everything she thought she wanted. Second, the slow burn, push and pull of Maggie and Cal, which finally gave us the romance we've all been waiting for, only to rip it out from under us in the finale. And third, Edna's story, which I'm not gonna lie, had me in tears more than once. Edna. Oh man. If you've been watching since Season 1, you know how important Edna is. She's that quiet strength in the background, the character who grounds the whole community. And then, in Season 3, they hit us with the news. A brain tumor. Blindness. Maggie is forced into a position where she has to operate on Edna, not as a doctor far away in some big hospital, but as a daughter figure, as family. And those moments? They're not just medical drama. They're raw, human, and they remind us why we care about this show in the first place. Because Sullivan's Crossing isn't about the big city, it isn't about flashy storylines. It's about people. People who love each other, who fight for each other, who sometimes make mistakes but always find a way back to each other. And that's why the ending hit so hard. Just when it felt like things were finally settling, just when it seemed like Maggie and Cal could finally breathe, they throw us the curveball of all curveballs. Maggie's long-lost husband shows up. Wait, what? Excuse me? Husband? Yeah. Out of nowhere, the writers remind us that this world is never safe, never predictable. And that's the genius of it. Because life isn't neat. Life doesn't wrap up in pretty bows. Sometimes people from your past come back when you least expect it, and everything you thought was stable suddenly cracks open. I think that's why Sullivan's Crossing resonates so much right now. Because if we're honest, we've all been there. We've all had those moments where we thought we had things figured out. Maybe it was a relationship, maybe it was a job, maybe it was where we lived, and then, boom, life throws a curveball. And you're left standing there, wondering, do I fight for what I want, or do I run? And Maggie? She fights. She always fights. Even when it hurts. And that's why we root for her. Let's also talk about Sully. Because Scott Patterson, man, he just brings this weight to the screen. Sully is that dad figure who's rough around the edges, but you know his heart is pure. Season 3 gave him a new love interest, Helen Culver, this best-selling author, And at first, I wasn't sure. Like, do we really need a romance for Sully right now? But the way it was written, it added another layer to him. It showed that even when you've been through the ringer, even when you're carrying decades of mistakes, you're still allowed to hope for happiness. You're still allowed to open yourself up to love. And I think that hit a lot of us right in the chest. Because how many of us have looked back on our past and thought, I don't deserve better? And then this show reminds us, maybe we do. Now, if you're new to Sullivan's Crossing and you're wondering, is this show worth a Netflix binge? Let me make it simple for you. Yes. Absolutely yes. And let me give you 3 reasons why. 1. The setting. Timberlake, Nova Scotia. This isn't just a backdrop. The scenery is like another character. The lakes, the trees, the small town streets, it all pulls you in and makes you feel like you're there. 2. The characters. This isn't one of those shows where you only care about the leads. You care about everyone. From Edna to Sully to the side characters who pop in and out, each one feels real. And 3. The drama. Not the over-the-top soap opera kind, but the kind that sneaks up on you, the kind that feels earned, the kind that stays with you long after the credits roll. And here's the thing about watching this show on Netflix. Binging it actually makes it better. Because the way these storylines are layered, the way one decision bleeds into the next episode, it feels like a novel you can't put down. Watching week to week on the CW was fine, but Netflix? That's the way to do it. Trust me. Once you start, you're not stopping. Now, let me get personal for a second. When I was watching Maggie make that decision about Glenn, I couldn't help but think about my own life. About those moments where I had to choose between what was easy and what was right. And let me be real, it's hard. Doing the right thing doesn't always feel good in the moment. Sometimes it feels like you're punishing yourself. But watching Maggie reminded me why it matters. Because integrity, doing what's right even when no one's watching, even when it costs you, that's the stuff that defines us. And maybe that's why this show is sticking with me. Because it's not just entertainment. It's a mirror. It's showing us the parts of ourselves we don't always want to look at. I know I'm not the only one who felt that. I've seen people online talking about how Edna's story reminded them of their own family struggles with illness. How Cal and Maggie's relationship struggles felt like something they'd gone through in their own marriages. And that's the power of community, right? This show doesn't just connect the characters, it connects us, the viewers. We're not just watching their story. We're seeing our story through them. And that's why I think Sullivan's Crossing isn't just another drama. It's a reflection of real life, dressed up in fictional clothes. So let me ask you, what hit you the hardest this season? Was it Edna's surgery? Was it Cal almost walking away from Maggie? Was it that jaw-dropping final reveal with the husband? Drop it in the comments, because I genuinely want to know what moment made you pause, rewind, and go, wait, did that just happen? Let's talk about it. Because that's what makes this channel what it is. We're not just fans watching in silence. We're a community that shares, that connects, that feels this stuff together. And if you're new here and you're loving this breakdown, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It helps way more than you think. And subscribe, because we're just getting started. I've got more deep dives coming, and I don't want you to miss them. And hey, share this video with that one friend you know is always looking for a new binge. Trust me, they'll thank you. Now, let me leave you with this. Sullivan's Crossing Season 3 proved something important. It proved that small-town stories can carry the same weight, the same intensity, the same heartbreak and joy as the biggest shows out there. It proved that family isn't just blood, it's the people who choose to stand by you, no matter what. And it proved that sometimes the hardest roads, the messiest roads, are the ones worth walking. So yeah. This season didn't just give us drama. It gave us truth. And if you're ready for a show that makes you feel, that makes you think, that makes you see yourself in its characters, then welcome to Sullivan's Crossing. You're home now.